Hello everyone, welcome to the Red Men TV. It is opposition preview time ahead of the Merseyside derby. I am Ross Chanley, joined today by Baz from Toffee TV. A very happy Baz this time. It's not often we get to do opposition previews for Merseyside derbies, and Everton at the top of the table, 4-4, Baz. I spoke to you about 10 minutes ago. I spoke to you a couple of weeks ago on the Untitled League podcast, and we had a little catch up of what was going on. How well you're doing, things have turned around for you. But this has got to be the happiest you've been going into a Merseyside derby for a while.
Yeah, definitely. It's the happiest we've been since you've probably known us, Ross, to be fair.
Probably, yeah.
No, we've had a perfect start to the season, haven't we? Played 7 months, 7. And you can't ask for more than that going into a derby, but it's a derby. And we've lost many that I thought we'd win. We've won some that I thought we'd definitely lose. So, no, but feeling good ahead of this one.
What's your thoughts on international break? Now, not the actual football, and we all hate that, but having 4-4 in a league, you start to gather some sort of momentum. And obviously Liverpool just got battered 7-2 by Aston Villa. Is it good that you've had a break and you can stop and reflect, or do you think it might hinder you slightly? I know form goes out the window and all the other cliches that you get before Merseyside derbies, but if you're on that another run of games after that, you'd be a lot more confident. Is it hindered you slightly, do you think, having a break?
I don't know, to be honest, for the simple reason that we were playing well, obviously, and you'd always want to play, but then we lost Alan, who's been massive for us. We lost Andre Gomez. We lost Seamus Coleman. And all them 3 are fit for the weekend. So had the derby been the week late, like last weekend, we'd have been without those players. I know Liverpool probably would have had a couple missing as well. But at this stage, in the way we're playing, we're obviously more worried about what we're doing at the minute. So it's hard to say. Sometimes them breaks come at the right time. Sometimes they come at the wrong time. But I'm just happy that we're back to Premier League football. I think, just as a side note, I don't think any international football should have been played at the moment the way COVID is throughout the world, to be honest.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. I think Liverpool have had Xherdan Shaqiri tested positive, Mane, Thiago, I think should be fine, and Naby Keita was the other one, but that's just a rumour at the minute. So, there's all sorts of questions about who might be fit and who couldn't be fit. While I've mentioned it, the 7-2, now, that was 2 weeks ago. I know we had a little chat in the studios yesterday. Is it a kind of a good time? My perspective is that Liverpool haven't had the chance to kind of gather themselves. Got battered 7-2, and they all go away on international duty and go and do their own thing. It's not like they come back, sit down. What happened yesterday, lads? Let's go again. So in that respect, as well as you're doing, it might also be a good time for you guys to play Liverpool as well.
Possibly. There is that aspect of it. Obviously, had Jurgen Klopp had his full team for 2 weeks to reflect on it and work on it, then it might have been a better thing from a Liverpool perspective. But listen, the Aston Villa result was a freak result. Liverpool are champions, they're the best team in the land, and just because players have been away on international duty doesn't mean all of a sudden they're not going to know how to play football. So, yeah, ideally, probably from a Liverpool perspective, he would have had that period of time to work on a few things, but they're all good enough players who've played very, high level and high pressure games. I don't think they're going to go into this one nervous as it might happen again. But I suppose from a confidence point of view, maybe there's a little dint in confidence for Liverpool and maybe a slight boost for Everton. What I would say is the air of invincibility has been removed, and that can only be a good thing from Everton. But that only bears out if Everton win the game, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it does. Let's just bring people up to speed. Like I said, we had a catch up on the Iran League, so your summer's been pretty good, hasn't it? You managed to get yourself a goalkeeper. James Rodriguez has come in. Alan, who you've mentioned, Decore as well. One or two other signings. This all comes with the fact that you've got a great manager. And I think one thing I can probably say for most Liverpool fans is they respect Carlo Ancelotti. We've had a fair few run-ins with him in the past, but there's no denying that he's the guy who can take Everton onto another level. And in the short space of time that he's had, given the situation of COVID and the transfer market was kind of up its own arse during the summer, he's doing a very good job, isn't he?
Yeah, he definitely is. Obviously, I think I said this to you when we were talking either on the around the league or socially distanced in the kitchen. Is that it's a similar thing to when Klopp came into Liverpool in terms of we needed a manager who could get most of the fan base united, calm them down, and get most of them united. And I think Klopp done that brilliantly at Liverpool. We've said this with Paul, have talked about it essentially from our perspective. We're all the same kind of person in this city, so we get a cob on when we lose games and we want to do better and we get restless. And so from an Everton perspective, Ancelotti's been able to come in and, in general, calm the fan base, unite the fan base. And when you put good signings in with that and a bit of a plan, I think that's easy to get behind. And I think that's where Everton are now. They've got money, they can back him. He's a top-class manager. And we've bought well in the summer, so it's looking very positive at the moment.
And does that come with any style of changes in the style of play with the new signings that you brought in? You've actually got a new midfielder. You're not relying on the likes of Sigurdsson anymore to kind of construct attacks and do it like, which he can be good at now. But I made the point to you, the fact that it's good you've got yourself in a position where you don't rely on Sigurdsson. He's still a good substitution. He's still someone good for set pieces. But the games that I've seen brief, and I mentioned this, I think when you played Crystal Palace and James Rodriguez had like 3 players around him. Now normally that would be try and kick against someone's shins and get a throw in, where Rodriguez is chipping balls over people and creating more attacks. Have you seen an improvement in your style of playing? You're scoring plenty of goals as well. That comes with signings and confidence, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. There's been a real upturn in the way we play. I think it's the easiest thing to say. I mean, we went 4-4-2 last season because the formation under Marco Silva wasn't working. Duncan Ferguson went 4-4-2 and it worked. Carlo Ancelotti came in and just kept it going. But anyone who watched, and I know spoke to all of you lads about it near the end of the season, our midfield wasn't fit for purpose in the Premier League. It was too slow, wasn't athletic enough. And what the manager identified, and I think again, this gives you that confidence in a manager when you can see something as a fan base and they see the same thing and go and correct it. Where we've all had managers at our clubs who the fan base seems to be crying out for something and they seem almost oblivious to it, or they make excuses for it. And I know from talking to my mates who were Reds that they were banging on about a goalkeeper and a centre-back. Even a couple of years into Klopp's reign, it was, he's doing well, but he hasn't identified this. And he just hadn't got to that point. And we've done that with the midfield this season. And then when you see him go out and bring in Alan and Abdoulaye Doucouré, who I think is brilliant, he's a cracking player, athletic, box-to-box, and then you sprinkle James Rodriguez in there, it just gives you that confidence that, we're all moving in the right direction. And that midfield transformed the way Everton play. And obviously we've gone back to a 4-3-3, if you like. But the difference this time is we've got great quality on the right to go with the quality we have on the left with Richarlison. And obviously Dominic Calvert-Lewin's improving year on year.
I'm just going to come to Calvert-Lewin. He seems to turn into prime Ronaldo, the original Brazilian Ronaldo. But that's because of the supply that he's getting before him. It's fair to criticise the players that we kind of doing it before, his style of play, or like you said, it's the quickness and transitions that you're getting now from those players that you just mentioned, isn't it? Which is making Calvert-Lewin, as well as what he's doing and the work that he's doing with Duncan Ferguson. I know he's a big fan of him. But you get the tune out of him. And again, that's what you get from someone like Carlo Ancelotti. It's not like a chop and change. He's simply not good enough. He's showing elements of his game and his knowledge and his experience by improving like to Calvert-Lewin. Like, I know it's only early days, but was it like 9 goals in 5 games that he's got? And he scored for England as well. Again, going into a Merseyside derby, I'm terrified is a bit of a strong word, but like I'm not as confident as I was, at the start of the season or last season when we played and all that stuff. Like, okay, we shipped 7 goals in one game, but when you've got someone like Calvert-Lewin, he must be on cloud 9 at the minute. He must be fearless. And going into a Merseyside derby, as I said, he's obviously a danger point for Liverpool to keep an eye on.
Yeah, he's flying, isn't he? 9 goals in 6 games for Everton, obviously a goal for England. He's what's changed this season is the quality of his shots and where he's taking his shots from. He's focused more in the penalty area, getting himself in the right areas, and the quality of the service is there. You know, we've got James Rodriguez creating chances for you. The last time out, Gylfi Sigurdsson creating chances for him. The Charlison set goals up for him. So he's flying, he's doing well. The thing with Dom is, year on year, he scores more than he did the year before. So his trajectory is upwards. He's quick. I think they've recorded he jumps the highest in the Premier League. So he's got a great spring on him. And he's a good athlete. And he's worked a lot. During lockdown, he worked a lot on his body and his physique. And he's come back ready to go this season. And you create chances for strikers, they will score goals. And the one thing he's doing at the moment, which he wasn't doing, is he's nice and calm now in front of goal, where he would maybe snatched at things before. This year he seems to be a lot better, a lot calmer, and that's been, like I said, to repeat myself, but since Duncan Ferguson took over and then Carlo come in, because this time last year I think he had 2 goals or 3 goals. You know, when Dunk took over, he had 4 goals last season and ended up with 15, and that's carried on this season. So, you know, he's on course to beat last year's record, all things being equal. So
he's on course to the Golden Boot at this rate as well. You've also shored things up at the back as well. Obviously, Yerry Mina's fit, Keane's back. You bought Ben Godfrey as well, so you got competition and decent competition at that. So you shored things up at the same. That's one of the things that I looked at when you were buying these midfielders, and obviously, you know, Calvert-Lewin was doing well. And I was quite blown away, to be fair, the fact that you managed to get Ben Godfrey in there as well, because I thought, not that you couldn't get him, but it's hard to tick all the boxes in one transfer window, and you've got a goalkeeper there as well. So you must be happy going into a full season. Probably this game as well, the fact that, you know, you've got choices, you've got healthy competition at the back.
Yeah, obviously we lost Mason Holgate before a ball was kicked for 9-10 weeks or something. And then we had an injury to Jarrah Branthwaite, who played last season. So we were light. We would have had Gabriel, who eventually went to Arsenal until COVID struck. And obviously the terms of that deal changed. So they wanted the centre-back to come in. Godfrey's at a great age, 22, fast, strong, good on the ball. So it's a good signing. And obviously Olsen's coming. The one area I'd say I'm a little bit not worried about, but I'd like us to have added is either another striker or someone to play off the right, because obviously with Moise Keeman out on loan and we got rid of Theo Walcott. But in general, everywhere else, the squad's looking really strong now, so delighted with that.
Cool. And finally, we had a little discussion about goalkeepers before the game kicked off, and that's probably your one concern, particularly in derbies as well. I can't have a conversation with you and not talk about Jordan Pickford. I don't know that's, you know, pot kettle and all that stuff, because, you know, our goalkeeper's not had a great time. But is that still a concern for you? And is it still a concern, the fact that it's been a few years now? Like, I know, like I said, all goalkeepers probably this season, you know, De Gea makes mistakes, Hugo Lloris makes mistakes, Adrian's thrown loads in. The standard goalkeeping, if we're being completely honest, isn't great. Edison 3-1 against Leeds. But is that still a question mark about how you go forward? And I think we had this conversation as well. I'm sure Ancelotti's not stupid. He'll be looking at that thinking, I need to improve the goalkeeping situation. He just can't do it all at once, can he?
No, it is. Listen, it is a concern, of course, because I think since we signed Jordan Pickford, no goalkeeper's made more errors that have led to goals. He's made 11 errors that have directly led to goals, which is the most in the Premier League. And Hugo Lloris is in that list as well. I think he's third, just to go with it. Pickford, for me, is a good goalkeeper, but he's got a mistake in him, and that isn't good. You can't build anything that's sustainable if you have got worries about your goalie. And so for him, this is a big season. He either steps up, or Everton, like I said to you, Ancelotti isn't stupid. He will be replaced. He can't do everything in one transfer window. And I think the fact they've got Robin Olsen in from Roma on loan, 6'5", that tells you that tells you straight away that.
How long are his arms?
More of a presence.
Has he got proper arms?
His arms are a lot bigger than Jordan's, I think, yeah. But I'm not going to focus on Pickford, and I'm not worried about him going into the derby at Goodison, because he's done quite well in recent years in those. But I'd be lying if I didn't, if I said that it's not something that most Evertonians are looking at and thinking, if he doesn't improve this season, he's got to go.
Yeah, and fans, just before I get a score prediction, it probably ties in with the Pickford stuff as well, to be honest with you. Is not having your fans having a slightly positive effect on Everton and the way that they're playing? Like, we've discussed how good Ancelotti is and what you're doing, but especially for the likes of Jordan Pickford, like, his head seems to go, because he gets caught up with the emotion of the game sometimes, particularly in Merseyside derbies. But did you feel like the players play with a lot less pressure than he would do if they were playing in Goodison?
I don't think at Goodison, because I think it's well documented how strong Everton's home form is with the crowd. You know, they've always got one of the best home records in the division. I think where it might have benefited Everton so far is away from Goodison. Obviously they played 2 away games, won both of them. Normally takes us about 6 months to achieve that. So I don't know whether that's crowd or whether it's just the fact we've got a better team. But it's difficult to say, isn't it? Because Jordan Pickford 3-1 in his net against Brighton in the last game, and there's no one in the ground. So yeah. I'm not convinced with him that it's the crowd, although when we play Newcastle up there, his head definitely goes. I think in general, it's just himself, that concentration of whether he gets bored, whether he likes playing on his PlayStation too much, like David James used to like, or Ousmane and Dembele, who plays for Barcelona, like staying up till 4 a.m. on his PlayStation. So I don't know whether it's something like that, but it's definitely a concentration issue rather than a talent issue, I think, with Pickford, because I think he's a decent keeper, but while you're making easy and stupid mistakes, then you're there to be shot at, and rightly so.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, then let's have a score prediction. I'm not sure what goes on these days, because I was talking about the an app we have to guess 6 correct scores from a certain supplier, which is like a free to thing. But what you do now, like 4 3s, 7 3s, it's just fucking all the word, isn't it?
It is mad. The goals have been crazy, haven't they? I'm gonna do something that I've never ever done on a prediction show with the Redmen ever. And I'm going to predict Everton win 3-2. Listen, I'm almost trying to cry it in, because normally I'm like cagey, and the best I ever do is 2-2. We never win anyway. So I'm going to be positive and say 3-2 to Everton.
I'm sorry.
In fact, reality, Ross.
Just quickly on that though, Baz, is the fact that you've seen loads on social media and Everton's song being top of the charts and iTunes, and it's almost not you guys being kind of unbearable, but you're enjoying the moment, aren't you? I think some people are finding that hard to kind of live with, but like obviously working closely with you guys and seeing about the times you come in and going, oh fucking hell, we're getting relegated and this is shit and that shit. Like it's dead.
Not me, that's Ped's words. I never say that.
I guarantee you said it last season as well, but it's good that Everton have got a bit of positivity about them, and you should be optimistic going into this. Yeah, definitely.
Listen, we're having a laugh. If anyone, there might be a small percentage of Everton fans who are giving it the big one, saying, well, we're in the title race and all that. Most of Evertonians are just enjoying it. Good. We're just enjoying it because it's gone well, we're playing well, and we're actually enjoying our football team. And we're almost laughing at ourselves, having a bit of a laugh. But if it carries on, then you never know what happens. I remember having this conversation with Mr. Padjak last year when Liverpool were top, and he was dancing, and it worked out all right for them, so for you boys. So I'm not saying that's us, but if you can't enjoy it now,
what's the point? What is the point?
You know what I mean?
Thanks, Baz. Make sure you check out Toffee TV on all their socials and their YouTube channel, of course. If you're looking for something to watch before the game starts, we got a 2-part documentary celebrating 5 years at Liverpool. Side's done an incredible job on that, so make sure you go and check that out. Let us know your score predictions in the comments below. Let us know if you're happy for Everton or not as well. Some people are, a lot of people aren't. Baz, thank you very much. I'll see you soon. Ta-ra.